Did a little stock trading earlier. Music's a little loud on this side. Okay, so on the economic calendar today, we've got the 30-year mortgage rates, which went up slightly, 7.7. I was shopping mortgage rates last night and was seeing rates as high as like 8.2, etc. So pretty crazy high. Mortgage applications are down 7%, which is huge, by the way. There's a massive amount of reduction in the mortgage applications. This one is the mortgage application, I believe, is just the combination of the market and the refi. Yeah. Or the purchase and the refi. Building permits are down 4.5%, which is a lot. Month over month. Housing starts going, projected was 1.38. We're at 1.35. Prior was 1.26. So we had a little bit of an increase there. A little bit lower than the projected, but nonetheless, still an increase. So decent there. The more housing supply we can get out there, the better. Especially if that housing coming out is not just condos and multifamily only. If we can get more in the houses range as opposed to the townhomes and multifamily type stuff, then we'll actually have some more opportunity to see house prices drop some more. There are a couple of markets that are expecting up to 25% corrections. I think Boise was one of them. Seattle is another that's expecting like 13 to 15% in total corrections. We've got at 7:30, we've got the crude oil stuff coming out. And you can see we're getting these like big, huge rips and then these big, huge drops. And I saw there was another one earlier, did the same move. You can see right there. There's actually like a really extended ABCD pattern. Rip up one, and then you sort of have this like ABCD, D, E, F going here. But we're seeing this rip here from like 43.76 all the way up at the peak there at 43.88. So it's like a $12 move. Pretty huge move. We may see lower moves coming throughout the day. You can see right now we're getting like a red switch here. We're well below the 5,200 moving average in terms of a downward movement. I feel like I'm like too zoomed in, but also not zoomed in enough at the same time. So this spike here was at the open. There we go, work on this little window here. So I'm hesitant to short it just because we already came down and kind of hit this bottom. We could sort of make a bit of a V shape here. So try to get an entry there, 43.79 and a quarter, and just no fill at the moment. So it's currently on my order. So the intention here is to take this entry at about 43.80ish, which we did get, and then go for about 15 ticks for another rip like this. Not just to go after the rip, but the point being is that we had this rip at the open here. And then we got a lot of sell-off, came down here, and I feel like we may have hit the bottom here, sort of the trough. Then we got this rip up, and then we pulled back. We see our pullback here is to this support level that we had earlier. We had a support here, here, and then we pulled back to support. So the idea here was really to get in along this support line, which looks like could have got a little bit better entry. We did get a little spike there, so for a moment I was in profit. But the idea here is that this is going to continue to ascend, and not necessarily that this is going to turn bullish, but rather that this will come up and test this volume weighted average price again. What up, Tiny? Good to see you. Woohoo! 2 more new peeps. Yeah, we're growing pretty quick, actually. It's actually pretty surprising just how fast we've been growing recently. Yeah, we're up at 415. So thank you everyone for showing up. Thank you for subscribing. I do very much appreciate it. I think we can get to 500 very soon. As you know, they actually changed the monetization. If you get to 500, then you can monetize your channel. You have to hit some other criteria, like a certain amount of watch hours and stuff. So that looks like that concept here is a pretty good concept. The sort of the where it comes down, hits that trough, and then ends up start inching up higher. So let's see if we can get that full 15 that we're after. And of course, I'm only trading 2 contracts because that's all this account will allow. I would have happily gone for like 4 on that, 3 or 4. So there we go. We got that full 15 tick trade. That was a really nice trade and very methodical. I'm pretty grateful about that. And surprisingly, we were able to get both fill and like a fill on both sides pretty easily. You can see the downtrend here, but it looks like the downtrend is being challenged now. Sort of had this double top right here at 88, and then we've got levels throughout this that we had marked throughout the days that we've been trading. So let's see now. You heard. Let's get zoom back in. All right. So this looks primed for another spike. I was going to take the entry there off that 200 bounce from right here, but kind of missed the op. So if we can get a different op here, and probably going to reduce this down to, I think 8 seems right. Big bounce there from, wow, we got to actually above VWAP. Wow. Heck, 15. Huh. So that's the breakout that I was really looking for, but man, that broke out a lot more than even I expected. Because remember, we got in at 79, and that just ripped up to 88. Actually ripped up to 90, and we're still going. So this is full on reversal now. We may run into resistance. As I'm touching my face, it's making it difficult for me to speak. I don't know why. I'm looking for 4,400 as resistance again, which has been the resistance like all month. I would love to see a pullback here, but I don't know that we're going to get it. We've got a lot of momentum on the TTM. We've got the 912. We are getting that pullback. Pullback was kind of minimal. We got in off 43.90, and I don't really want to try to hold out for 94. So we'll seek to take our profits right here. So that was about a $200 trade on that one, and $375 on the first one. It's a lot of buyer momentum here. Got sort of an ascending wedge right there. So a little bit of sell-off here would be ideal, especially down to the 9 moving average, or possibly down to back to like 88. But we do have this crossover inbound. This is very heavily weighted on the upside now. Short of somebody coming in and dumping contracts. we had 10,000 contracts in order to get up to this point, and then another like 8 or 9,000. So I'm gonna look to. I want to see like sell off for. I was gonna look to take an entry on a drop down, but it looks like we have a flag here. We got in at 90 and a quarter, and the intention here is to go for 12 ticks, so bounce up towards 95. We'd be out before that. So this right here, this little drop here, this is actually what I was looking for on the entry, and the reason why I didn't end up taking it was because as this was dropping down, we started to get this hammer candle, and then I was like, oh man, might only get a 1 minute pullback instead of a 3. And that still could end up being the case. But you can very clearly see that this ended up forming into a flag instead of the wedge. And so 1 minute candle to close out above this hammer candle here, we should get a nice rip up towards like 95. 1 minute candle did not close it out above. We have one more op here, I believe. We're very close to this cross here as well. 4,400 could very much be in the cards. We're sitting at 90 right now. I believe 95 could be in inevitability as well. We do have this flag here. TTM momentum going from 4.8 to 5.4. There's still room left in that. Going from now 5.4 to 5.8. There's still room left in this TTM move. Also, we've got that crossover inbound. This is looking really good for, like, very solid for an upward move. And likely one with a lot of momentum. Because this took so many contracts to get up here, I do have a little bit of concern about a drop down. But the concern is pretty minimal. Probability says that this is likely a much larger push up. Especially since we had some opportunity to consolidate within this range on this flag. But we're going to have to break above 92.5. Basically above the top of this wick. We can break above 92.5. I think we can surge up to about 94. Potentially even 95, but 92.5 is going to be our hot button there. There's 92 that this wicked up to. We got our 9 moving average still continuing to ascend. That's a good thing. We've got our crossover about to happen here on the next candle. You can see it right there on the current, but the next is really going to show what happens. TTM went from 5.4 to 5.8 to now 5.7. So here's a little bit of that sell-off here. This is one thing I was concerned about, considering that we had this elevated bull flag here. That's kind of an interesting name. When I say elevated, what I'm talking about is where this candle and this one, neither of them actually broke. And so because without that break, that's really becomes concerning at that point of whether or not we'll actually get a break. And then we've got the TTM cooling here. So because this is beginning to form like an upside down U-shape pattern, it may be time to bail on this. Plus, I think we're down like 12 ticks. Yeah. Yeah, it went from 90. We're down here at 85, so 84. That's a major drop, obviously. So we never got that breakout, which is actually pretty surprising. But Not overly surprising just because it took so many contracts to get up here. So 92 ended up being our resistance zone. What is a little surprising though is just to see that this ended up selling off on the cross. Playing on retail traders, I assume. So you can see the cross did not happen yet. And it's happening on this current candle right here. $35 is well above the 50 moving average. I'm actually going to zoom out just a moment here and see when that crossed. 35 crossing above the 50 exponential is a very powerful indicator. I don't use it as a strategy in and of itself, although I have before. I typically use it as a indicator of momentum. And so you can see it crossed over right here on this candle, which was the first one that we got a lot of that momentum on. And then after that, we had plenty of move up. You can see that big huge rip right there, right after the 35.50 cross, which is in and of its own self, nailed it, a pretty reasonable, strong move. And a strong indicator. I definitely would not use it as an entrance in, exit out indicator, like I would with like a 5200 moving average, or even a 1226. But it is very indicative of momentum. And likewise, when you see the momentum switch to the other side, it's just as bad or just as good, depending on whether you're going long or short. So we may actually decline, and obviously I'm staying in this trade for this long. I would never do this on my eval, but the reason why I am is because I want to see if this actually plays. And it's looking like this may actually completely decline. And it did pretty heavily. I mean, it dropped like $10, which is pretty insane. So yeah, we'll definitely cut this. That obviously is held for way too long, but the holding of it was not necessarily the point. For whatever reason, market orders like never want to fill on here. You can see it gave back all of its gains, which was what I was talking about back when it was up here. Is my concern is that with this many contracts that it took to push this up, that we may see just as many on the dump. And we're actually getting the drop down below that initial support level there of about 77, 75 area. And this makes sense because we're coming up on the 730, right at 730 actually. And we had the oil reports, the crude reports coming out at 730. So let's see what happened with oil. Oil is now ripping. Massive rip on oil. And this makes sense. It's the 730 report here for oil. So I tried to take an entrance on oil. I'm going to keep attempting. There's a lot of volatility in it. So we'll see wherever this fills. I ended up filling at 87.08. And I'm looking for a massive spike on oil here. High up there at 88.57. We got those crude reports that I haven't checked yet. But for this oil trade, I'm going to move this up to 87.35. We've got a really nice op here. As we can see, we've got the cyan switch going on, 912 crossing. We zoom in, we can see that the 35 that we just talked about, the 35 is very close to a crossover of that 50. That's a very strong indicator of upward momentum. We have a flag on the play. If it can get and stay above the volume weighted average price, which is the purple line right here. And then we may even get a 5200 cross. Basically the same move that we're going for and looking for on the ES to a very large degree. But oil does have some momentum behind it, likely because of these crude numbers that may have come out here. So let's see. Numbers are down for crude. So imports are down 2.6 million barrels. What are we doing? Let's see. We've got crude oil stock exchange down 4.49. Let's see. All oil is down across the board on all of the reports. So we got to pull back to that 9 moving average. So this actually may end up being like a pretty decent entry zone right here. But I think that we have a lot of opportunity to get this above the volume weighted average price. And I'm down slightly in this trade. I was up slightly in it for a little while. Peaked at about 87.30. I was trying to get out at 35. We peaked at 29. TTM looking like when it switched here to 0.4, then went to 8.9, then 14, then 18, now 21. So there's actually more coming in. I wonder if I can actually purchase more. I've never tried to really purchase that much on oil. I wonder if I can lower my cost basis here. Trying at 86.95. I'm really kind of wondering how many oil contracts I can buy. I could just be piling into an order, but I don't really care. I want to see what this account is available to do. Okay, so I can get 4. I'm gonna max this size out. 4 is the max I can go. And we've got a nice 4-minute pullback here. Coming to a flat bounce off the 9 exponential. Our cost basis is now at 87.01. We were at 87.08. So we were able to pull that down about 7 cents. And we're looking at now 23 on the 2TM, moving to 25. Which makes this trade profitable now at the moment since we lowered our cost basis down to 87. We're in a total of 4 contracts. I've got a sell order up here at 87.35 as the peak, and then I've got 2 orders here, one at 15 and one at 20. Kind of feel like I should bump one to 25. Then we'll be at like 15, 25, and 35. 35 is going to be challenging to hit, but we do. I think, given our previous high, 87.50 is not particularly out of the question. So 9 is still below the 200 moving average, so I don't love that. VWAP is going to be the area here to really beat. 35 is above 50, but we're also ways from this cross. I'd actually like to see a bump up just above VWAP here and just sort of stay right here for like around 87.20 or 87.15 or something like that for a few minutes, and then see a nice, like a spike up. So order number 1 is off the table. I'm really feeling I should bump this to 25. I'm going to do it. So 87.15 is where we ended at. We're getting some pullback right now, and a pullback on the TTM. 88.57 is the high of the day. TTM cool off from high of 28 down to 23. I was actually gonna join the bid right there. I was gonna try to get in at 86. Oh, here's another op. Got in at 86.95. So now we're at 86.98 as our cost basis. Suppose I could have waited a little bit longer for the contract that we just picked up. Well, that's all right. I'm gonna multi-bracket order here. I guess it's not really the same, but we've got, I forget the name of it when you sort of ladder out. TTM on its highest peaked at 28, then dropped to, which is really high by the way, then dropped to 26, then to 25, then down to 20, and 16, 17. So still continuing to drop some. The 9 is still above 12, but we're gonna need to see a push back up to about 87.15. I'm gonna zoom out slightly here. Get a little better view. We've got this top up here at 30. I'm gonna put that right at 25, really. Because even though we kind of peeked through it, we peeked through it 3 candles in a row, but we never hit 30. So when we rip like this was a 2100 contract move. Then 14 on the drop, and 8. So that essentially accounts for that. Then 800, then 480, 630, 390, 470, 500, 400, 650. We got 650 on that basically doji there. 375, 385. Okay, so our volume's staying pretty consistent, so that's good. All right, little U-shaped pattern forming. This is a good thing, because I think that we were just a little extended on the TTM. But I do want to see this 9, this yellow line cross above the red, the 200 moving average. This is a 9 exponential, by the way. That's 200 simple. For those of you who might be new to the channel. I think that's our biggest volume candle of the day. I don't know if we'll see one that big again, but so for every penny it goes up, by the way, or down, it's a fluctuation of $40 on my P&L. 13.8, 11.96, and now 10.58. Okay, so the decline in the TTM is softening, at least on the last 2 candles. But I think we're going to need to see this jump back up above 12 to really start seeing the momentum that we want to see here. There we go. Momentum still hasn't picked up on the TTM yet, even with that pop. But now 9 and 12 have both crossed above 200 moving average. Still on here a little bit at 12, 87.12. Trying to have that get taken off there at 87.15. It's close, but okay, there it is, 87.15. So that one's off. That profit's in the bag. Now our 86.95 is our basis now. We still have 3 contracts on. I went from 10.5 to 10.7 on that little bump, and then now dropping to 9.1. Just sort of waiting for this 5200 cross, which is a little ways out. I might say up to 15 minutes. Although I can figure it out exactly. Or not exactly, but very closely. I have 20 seconds. I have 20 seconds to figure this out. 86.93 on that. And 87 flat. So it's a 7-cent difference. And then we'll see where we're at on the next one. Okay, new candle in, and that's still at 87. And so 6 cents now. So we're looking at probably 6 minutes, moving at about 1 penny per minute. That is, if we can sort of keep in this range above 87 area. We can stay above 87 in about 5 to 6 minutes from now. Wow, big sell-off right there, all of a sudden. Let's see if we just get like a sell-off and then a fill right back up. TTM has declined significantly. My hope is that it doesn't go red, but rather just sort of ends on the blue and then rips from there. But I believe that we have a strong entry at 86.95, so I'm not going to lose out on that. I suddenly became aware that I had another op to grab another contract down here and kind of missed it. Big rip up there. Ripping on about 300 contracts. That candle's over. New candle starts now. And TTM dropping from 3.9 down to 0.8. It's a lot of drop. We're going to have to get above this volume weighted average price, likely within this candle or the next. Let's check our moving averages here. We got 86.94 on the 50. And we have 86.99 on the 200. So 5-cent difference. So the gap is still closing, which is what we want to see. We want to see this convergence beginning to happen and continuing to happen. Slight bit of slowdown here in volume. 304 on the previous and 277 on the last candle. So if we can get it back above 500 contracts, that'd be ideal. There's 87.15 again, which we've been kind of struggling with. See a switch back on TTM, going from 1.3 up to 4.0. Big jump there, so we could see a surge in buying here shortly, especially if we can go from 4.0 to like 6 or 7. New candle right now. Jumped from 4.6 to 6.4. Really would jump from 1.3 to 4.5. I said 4.6, but I meant 4.5. Read it wrong. So from 1.3 to 4.5, we've got that jump there of 3.2. It's a big jump. And then that's jumping up to 6.2. I like the way I said that. We went from 1.3 to 4.2. He said, I like that jump there. It's a big jump. Absolutely tremendous jump. 87.16 is the high of that candle, and dropping a little bit off that. Our moving average, 50 moving average, goes to 87.96, while the 200 remains at 80. Actually dropped to 86.98. Now we have 2 cent difference now on the 5200 cross. New candle in. 50 stays at 96. 200 stays at 98. Visually, though, they look closer. Some selling back down. 87's got to hold. It's okay if we're like 86.95 or whatever, but it's got to be the 87 area has to hold in order to really see this play out. TTM 4.5 to 5.3 to 5.7. I think we need 6.5 to 8 now at this point. Jumps to 5.8 from 5.3 to 5.8. That's where we ended on that previous candle. This needs to go to 6.5 or higher. $50 moving average goes to 86.97. 200 remains at 98. 1 cent difference. EMA 35 crossed above the 200. That's very important for giving us confirmation, just another confirmation of this move. It doesn't mean it is. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed. Nothing is, especially not in trading. But it's another indicator letting us know that we may be on the right path. 50 goes up to 87 or 86.97. 200 also at 86.97. We're now on the same spot. As I like to say, they're kissing. Did have another buy off here that I didn't take advantage of. Kind of wish I did. Put a standing order here at 87 just in case we get a little drop for the pop. New candle now. There's the very beginning of that cross. Picked up another contract. Bought in at 87. Slightly increases my cost basis, but not by much. I'm going to move this sell order here to 87.15. TTM going from 6.9 to 5.3 to 4.8. I don't like the decline in the TTM. We also just got a 1226 cross on the downside, so that's not good. But we did get continued divergence there on the 50 and 200. They're super close. They're basically the same price. They are. I want to see the 50 become over 87. I'd like to see the 50 actually become like 87.05 or something like that. It's very soonish. So we've got a sell order here at 87.15. that additional contract that we picked up, 25 and then 35 as well. TTM going from 5.4 up to 7.2, 7. So we want to see this break above 7, even above 8. 10 seconds left in this candle. We're a couple minutes to 8 o'clock. 3 minutes out to 8 o'clock. We may get this rip at 8 o'clock. That candle ended at 6.7. And new candle goes at 8.4 on the TTM currently. Sitting on a doji at 87.11 at the moment. We have a 2-cent divergence in the 5200 moving average crossover. I want to see it become more like 10 to 15 cents in the very short term. There's that 87.15 contract taken off the table. Still looking for that rip to 25. And on up towards 87.50. Although everything would be out at 87.35. By that point, everything would be out. And why would I not wait for the additional up to 50? Well, because it might not happen. And it's only a difference of like $400. It's not like it's the end all be all. Our current P&L, we're up $600 on the open, and on the day 960-ish on this particular. Is it a security for futures? Asset? It's not an asset, that's for sure. Security, I guess, on this particular security. Dropping down some on the VWAP, down to 87.15 for a second there, and dropped a little bit lower. TTM went from 6.7 to 9.5 to 9.8, and now getting a little decline here. 50 moving average now sitting at 87 and 200 at 96, or 86.96. So 4-cent difference now. Again, I want to see like 10 to 15 cent difference to really lock in that upward move. I'd also love to see a green dot here on the TTM to have it indicate where that is on the Bollinger Band. To be completely honest, I don't fully understand the green and red dot thing. I just know that green is good and red is bad. And that has something to do with the Bollinger Band, but I don't know that I'd be able to really explain it because my level of comprehension on it is so-so. Fighting the VWAP. TTM goes from 9.8 to 9.8 to 9.8. Remaining stagnant on that VWAP. We've got to break above this volume weighted average price. Looking at a 4-cent difference on the 5200. All the moving averages are in the proper place. We just need to get above the VWAP now. Last piece of the puzzle. Pull this out just a little bit. Take a look at some longer term here and just see what we've been trading. So we've been trading along these lines here, taking some profits along the way. and been sort of trading along this. Dropping down about 10 cents off of that view up there. The view up is the last line of defense for this upward move. Obviously, volume plays a pretty significant role. So I don't know if we'll see another massive volume surge like this, but volume's been pretty minimal over the last 10 minutes or so. 200 to 300 contracts, a couple of candles with 500. I think in order to break over this VWAP, though, we're going to need to see a big surge in buying. Average price is $86.97 at the moment. Currently up $480, $540 or so on the open. On the day itself, we're up about 900-ish. It's a long trade, but it's not a bad trade. We now have a 5-cent difference on the divergence. Now a 6-cent difference. The more we continue to diverge, the higher probability we have of an upward momentum move. We're going to need to see that continued divergence. Like I said, I want to see about a 10 to 15 cent. 15 cent would be a more ideal divergence between the 50 and the 200 moving average. Right now, we're running into resistance along 87.20, and really it's just resistance at the VWAP. But I can tell you, trading in an evaluation, I would still be bullish right here. And I definitely would have bought along these lower sides, just as really I would have traded it exactly as I'm trading it right now. Trying to get that rip over 87.18 is no small feat. Especially because you can see that we're struggling with volume. The TTM has been pretty flat, hanging around the 8.5 to 9 range. We now we're at 87.03 and 86.96 on the 5200 moving average cross. I don't know why I have to say that many terms. But we're fluctuating between 6 and 7 cents on the divergence. Like I said, I want to see between 10 and 15 cents. And now it's 87.03 and 86.95. So what is that, 8 cent difference? That's awesome. We're continuing to grow that gap. Didn't see the big surge in volume that I wanted to see at 8 o'clock. It was kind of minimal. We're here at 8:05. Going to take a look at a longer term chart, which did, as you can see right here, get that cyan switch on the 3-minute side. We're chilling up here at 87.17. 3-minute, we're at 22.3 on TTM. Taking a look at the 5-minute, we've been swapped since that initial momentum move. 5-minute looking good on the 9/12/26 cross. Those crossovers are starting to move over the EMA 35, which is also ideal. 5-minute, you can see we've got the 200 moving average up here at 87.25. and TTM holding at about 13 to 15 range. Back to the 1 minute chart where we're at 9.0 to 10.0 to 10.3, 10.4-ish on TTM. Can we get another move up towards the 20, 22-ish on TTM? Volume weighted average price is a stickler right now. Divergence is now 9 cents. I could just cut and take my profits. It kind of feels like a long trade, but pretty big loss in momentum right there. We went from 10.0 to 9.4 to 9.6. So sort of fully rejecting that volume weighted average price. I'm debating whether or not to cut right here and just take the profits. I would like to hold out for my original trade idea, but I think I'm just going to cut it out. So we're just going to mark it out wherever it fills us. Hopefully it fills us higher. 87.05 was our exit. So we ended up making 600 from all those moves. I was hoping for more like 1,500, but not going to complain about it. So I think we did pretty decent buying up the drops, buying up that support at 87, and sort of accumulating along that 87 range, grabbing those buy opportunities when they drop below down to like 86.95, stuff like that, just to gain like just to really lower that cost basis and keep sort of keeping 1 to 2 contracts in cycle. This could rip up and have our original trade idea play out. One of the reasons why I just made the decision to cut this was because of this rejection off the VWAP after this many attempts, and then the decline in the TTM. And so these two factors, I was like, okay, we could see a sell-off down towards basically my entry at 86.95. Will it drop below that? I don't know. But it seemed less likely to me that we were going to get the rip when we took this many stabs at the VWAP and couldn't convert. So at that point, I was kind of like, okay, around here was where I started looking, maybe we should sell off. And it looks like that was the right decision. So I'm comfortable with that. Profit of 600 on oil today, and loss of 700 apparently on the ES. So still ending up red, but I really like this set of trades through oil. Proud of it, and I think that's worthwhile. No pressure, but I'd be so done with that green. I actually was about to walk away. Like now, like as we're at, just because I've been trading for a while. The stream's been going for an hour, and I was trading stocks before that. So I'm gonna jump off here. I'll see you guys next Monday. And yeah, in the meantime, stay safe out there. Stay optimistic. Keep going for your dreams, and keep trading, keep learning. And we will see you guys Monday. I'm going to keep reading over the week. I'm reading like three or four books right now, and for whatever reason, I have to keep jumping around. I can't just like sit on one book and just read it straight through. But yeah, much love. I'm gonna peace out here, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.